Where did I put Jeff Beck? It's been a while, almost 2 weeks, so I need to get reacquainted. It's kind of like somebody you dated once, you had a good time, they ghosted you and got back together for a minute. That's kind of what this feels like, but it's a lot more fun with a happier ending. I got my ephemera ready. I'm going to be working on this guitar. We should have a real good time this afternoon. Quick explanation what I'm doing here. I love this image for the arm. I'm not sure if it's going to fit exactly, so I'm going to save it maybe for another part of this collage. I want to stay with this beautiful gray scale for the arm, and this is the quandary and also the frustration about doing these types of collages. I want to stay with a certain theme and a certain color, and I may not have enough ephemera to go around, so I'm cutting around excess. Around the areas that I know won't be exposed that I'm using. So I'm checking that out. It looks like I will have, oh yeah, I'll have more than enough. There's another space here I can use. I just want to make sure I'm not taking from the area that I already nailed down. Okay, that looks good. I should be able to make do with these pieces to finish the arm. Let's find out. I don't like having straight edges in my collages mostly. Sometimes I feel it takes away from it. It doesn't if you're doing something that is geometric and exacting. This obviously is not exacting. I'm playing with different shapes and sizes, so I'm not sure if I want anything terribly geometric, and I want to stay away from these very straight lines. However, it is emphasizing the forearm, so I think it'll be okay in this regard. But you see how this is squared right here? I don't know if I like that. And whenever I have that kind of situation, then I just make sure that it is butted up against another piece that is more curvy and biomorphic. So I'm going to put that here and see how it looks. I think it'll be okay. I definitely have enough. Again, I am concentrating on contrast. I want to make sure light and dark play a big role in identifying the different sections of the collage. Looks like we're doing okay with this. So I should be able to work with this. This isn't going to be a problem. I'll have enough for the arm. The hand, obviously, I'm not going to have enough to complete the hand with the same ephemera because this is all I have left. So I'll need to move on. I might move on to this. But the guitar is also a focal point. So I want to make sure whatever I do with the guitar, it'll be a nice contrast to this remaining arm and this hand. So I may want to find colors similar to this for the other arm, a similar gray tone for the other arm, and obviously for the hand. The arm was a success. I'm very happy with it. As I shared with you earlier, it's been a while since I've seen Mr. Beck. I have missed him, but other things were going on. I fortunately did save the pieces I was working with when I started this collage, the black and white imagery especially. I want to find a grayscale that's going to complement this other arm and also stand out as an arm. And that also being said, I don't want it to detract too much. Okay, well, I got some lovely sky here. So I have some a nice monochromatic grayscale, natural from a photo, magazine photo. I can use that here And that because it's not really significant, this arm was far more significant as a focal point. Got a little bit of arm here, so I need some nice contrast, but also have it read as an arm. So maybe this darker area will go good here. And then I got the fingers to worry about. The fingers also are a part of the focal point, but I want them to contrast again with this guitar. And speaking of the guitar, I'm slowly going through the collection of color that I wanted for this collage, and this is what I want to work with. I'm really excited actually about using this. Uh, I think it'll look great on the neck of the guitar. And as always, I want to use this piece. This piece has been hanging around for a couple of videos. It was in the twinning video a couple videos back. Haven't had a chance to use it. And then last week I cut out this little piece. So you see, you cut them out and maybe you don't use it for that particular collage. Never fear, it will find a home somewhere. And then this elegance. So I've got to decide what I'm going to use for this arm. I think we're going to stay with this. I may need to do a little bit more searching for a grayscale, and I've got to think about these fingers, and that is going to be where the real work and the detail are going to come into play. Should be a lot of fun. Got lucky with that last little piece, able to pop it out like that. That always makes me happy. Have a nice clean edge going on, and it wasn't too painful to do because there wasn't a lot of packing tape on the back. So I had talked about using this monochromatic wonderful grayscale. Go ahead and cut out exactly what I want to use. It's funny because when I originally cut out this image to use for collage, it was the mirror image that I wanted, this wonderful mirror design that was going on. And look, instead, what I'm going to be using, possibly something you would consider the most uninteresting part of the image. And it's going to be maybe the most useful part of the image that I am going to be working with. I also found some of the leftover pieces that I used on the face. The face is made up of faces from an art image from a magazine. Can't remember which one. So I'm going to work with this darker piece here and see how it looks, if it's a nice contrast and also defines itself as another arm. A little darker than I like. Let me move it around. See if I can, okay, yeah, that's kind of what I want to go for. Not quite white, but not super dark gray. So super white, super gray, super white, super gray. Okay, let me play with this a little bit more. I may want to consider shadow here. Having something natural as these clouds lends itself to shadow. So I may want to make sure, yes, this is going to be bright because this will be the light source, but I want a shadow here because of the other arm. So I may want to work with that. And this allows me to do that, this wonderful cloud image. I'm so grateful for it. Okay, I think I like this. I think we have a nice contrast here. I can work with that. So I'm going to nail it down and make a commitment. I ran out of the cloud cover image, and didn't have enough space, got a little frustrated there, and couldn't figure out what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I don't have enough. I don't have a big enough piece. And I'm simply bringing in a scrap from the other arm, this imagery. I didn't throw it out, and that's why I try really hard not to throw anything out until I'm completely done with a collage piece. And it's not going to detract, and it's not going to confuse the viewer. It's not going to confuse me, most importantly. In fact, it'll add a little piece of color that I think will tie the image in. And if I have to shave a little bit off Mr. Beck's elbow, I think it'll be okay. Here's another straight line, but it looks all right because we're actually going to be going into the the guitar, which is very streamlined to a point. And I can take artistic liberty with it and switch things around. But this was a problem solved. So, advice to new collage artists out there: do not throw away your pieces until you are finished with the project, because you might need it for something like this. One of the downfalls about doing a part one, part two video is the fact I have to reacquaint myself with the piece and reacquaint you with the piece and my process, and that's all good. We're just repeating myself a little bit here in case maybe you didn't see the first video. But with this yellow pencil, I'm just marking out where I want to make my next cuts, where I think they will stand out better and help me as well. This is just a Xerox copy of a photograph that I got, and it works. It's not the greatest quality in the world, but it's definitely difficult to see the detail, especially in these hands. And that's what I'm planning to tackle next. It's early in the day, so I have time to walk away from it, come back, have a cup of coffee, let the cat out, that kind of thing, go for a walk, which I'm definitely going to be doing later. I use my trusty yellow pencil to tell me where I need to go next. So here we have some hands, fingers. They always look good when they're done well, and I take my time. But they do present a challenge just because of basic human anatomy, and we are all familiar with the way our hands look, even if we aren't artists. So if this part doesn't come out the way I like it, if I don't like it, I'm pretty sure somebody out there who's watching the video may snicker at it, and that's fine. I'm here to make you laugh. I am here to entertain. So let's get back to this hand. I'm entering a phase of the collage where things are getting highly detailed and they are very important to the imagery. I'm going to start working on the guitar soon, and I want to have all my images, my pieces that I want to use for the guitar ready to go. Originally, I sat here with the yellow pencil sectioning off the different parts of the guitar's neck, thinking I'm going to do a piece of color in each one of these little squares. Scratching that idea. Then I started looking at the dots on the guitar. Sorry, I'm not a musician, so I apologize to the musicians out there. I don't know the technical terms. And I'm wondering, how am I going to do that? Then I thought, oh my gosh, the strings. How do I display the strings? How do I let you know there are strings on this guitar? Not going to happen. I'm not going to cut each and every little section out. It's Saturday. It's my day off, and I want to enjoy it with Mr. Beck here. So I still want to use this very badly, to the point where I'm getting worried about using it because I'm so stuck on using this tiny little piece of paper that it may not work out after all. But I was looking through some ephemera off camera, and I was looking at this old book and this image of old stained glass windows. And I think that'll convey a nice abstract feel to guitar strings and those little sections on the guitar neck. The decision to make here is which color to use. And I was using this imagery on this piece. You could just see little bits here is actually from this page. I could even use this page, but I really wanted the guitar to stand out as an element of very strong color. I also keep saying I want to use this. You keep seeing me putting it back in the camera frame. Whether or not it's going to fit there, I don't know. So I'm stuck between, well, I could use this, but it doesn't have as much color and vibrance as these do. And I want to consider also the contrast between the guitar neck and the hands. It's going to be very, very, very important. The hands are important. They're also difficult to do, but I probably will stay with this grayscale for the hands so we have a nice contrast. Now, these colors from this page aren't as vibrant as, say, this maybe, or this. So I'm still doing a little thinking. I'm still doing some cutting off camera. I was even looking at this. I like the waves because those also indicate guitar strings, so do these, but they just don't stand out the way these might. So I am leaning strongly in this corner. They will be a really powerful focal point for this image. So see, this is what the gray will look like against here. Not a super great contrast. Let me look at this one now. Maybe it'll be more of a contrast with this. This is dark though. A better contrast actually. A little bit better. Not too bad. I still have a few pieces of lighter gray left, and these are small fingers, but as I've shared with you before, this type of cutting and then pasting on the back gets really tedious. So I'm glad I started early today because there's no way I would have done this after work one day. I would have been really tired and not enjoyed the process at all. So let's return to the process. I am trying to plan and think ahead because these hands are not easy to do, and I am running precariously low on my grayscale. I like the way it's looking. I like the way it's going. I'm pleased with that, but I see I might not have enough. I'm trying to be careful. I'm trying to salvage every little bit that I can until I'm actually done. I don't really want to deviate from this grayscale too much, and I'm going to need a lot more, and I'm not done with this yet. We're still going good, and I love the way the guitar is looking. I'm going to return to these little bulbs in this image and make them the dots on the guitar. But I'll think about that later because my main concern now is getting this hand done. It doesn't look like I have a lot left to do, but the thing is I need extra paper, extra parts of the image to make sure I can adhere it to the back. And that means I have to overlap and use more than what is observed here on the collage itself. So I'm probably going to do some work off camera because there is a lot to do. And this also gave me some, for lack of better terms, gave me some grief. Yeah, that's just how it is. So I'm going to maybe take a break and come back and we may have the hands done. So this hand is finished. I'm happy with it. I started working on this arm and I'm going to work on this side of the next hand before I begin with the guitar neck. And yes, I am running out of grayscale pieces. However, I glanced over at my very messy desk. Remember that messy desk at the beginning of the video? And I saw this image. Of course, I cut it out because of the design and maybe the artist standing next to it. But I looked around and I'm like, oh my gosh, another grayscale. So I have a little bit more to work with. I have a little more wiggle room, and that is always a good thing when you are working with detailed pieces. So I'm going to continue working and stealing from this image if I need to. I am going to always go back to my original grayscale to keep up the momentum and be cohesive, but I have this to fall back on and I feel so much better. This is the challenging detail portion I was telling you about because I have ephemera taped on the back to hold this piece into place. And all I want to do is cut this small section of thumb away. The reason I like doing that, the more contrast, the more pieces you have, the more detail, it looks like a thumb. So I'm going to get started here. And what I like to do is cut along the top here. So this part will stay intact until I'm finished. So I cut along the top. Sometimes I go over it twice, slowly. And then along the side here. And I cut all the way into the other section along the edge. It looks cohesive and it's clean. Go along this edge here. And then finally, a very small portion here along the guitar neck. And do we have success? It's still stuck a little bit, which means I need to come back in a little bit more. We're almost there. More often than not, this is what happens when I do these cuts. They aren't always clean like that one earlier in the video where it popped right out. That's perfection, that's a good day, but mostly that is rare. Because again, I'm cutting out the original Xerox and then ephemera underneath it, and in some cases, oh, and then there was tape. There was packing tape I was cutting through. That's why it took so long, and that's why it didn't pop out nice and clean. I try to not be heavy-handed with my adhesive. I say that in every video, and I do it anyway. But we're making collages. They're getting finished, and this one still has a ways to go. The hands are done. Oh boy, they were a job. I'm continuing with the guitar neck, and then the guitar body. So I'm looking at just finishing the neck. Again, I apologize for my lack of musical acumen and what the terminology really is for the body of a guitar. Let's see, I'm gonna cut out this little piece here and use my little color-coded orangey piece that I used in the rest of the collage that I desperately wanted to use for this collage. Why? I don't know. I just had to. I really wanted to use this. I'm not sure why. I just did. So here it is, and I'm glad it fit, and I wasn't going to great lengths to make sure that it fit. It worked. Does to me. Made me happy. So I'm going to do that. Let me cut this little bit of template away. I also went with the darker stained glass look. Here we go, I have some here. I liked the way it appears with my little color-coded scheme. So I'm going to snake this in and cut away the rest of the neck to finish it. Let's see. So I play with a little bit like this, like I always do. See what I can get. I like that. I like the magenta color a lot. Okay. So I think we're going to go with that. I'm actually going to just take a bit of drafting tape and put it in place. I'm not going to use any packing tape just yet. I just want to keep it in place because I want to put the rest of the guitar neck next to it. And I'm going to cut along these fingers to continue with the template and to get the rest of the guitar neck in here. This is where it gets a little tricky too. There's a lot of detail that I already did, and I have to do more detail around it, cutting around it to fit the next piece in. And I want to make sure, okay, I just want to go to there. Just so far. And across. Not real straight, but that's okay. I just went ahead and made it a little bit on the rounded side. Okay. All right. And this removes pretty easily. I was careful with my packing tape on the back and also with how much paper I was adhering. Just makes things easier to cut later if you have to. Okay. I'm going to play with the stained glass look and see how that goes. I am looking to use probably this for this black portion of the guitar, but I'm also looking at this too. I like them both. Whatever I put here, I'd like it to complement this part that I'll be cutting next. And I want to stay with the stained glass look. Let's see what is going to work for me. So go ahead and I'm going to switch on back to time lapse. I know I've explained myself in other videos. I'll just explain myself again in case this is the first time you're watching one of the videos. Wax paper with some adhesive on here. I'm just smearing it on. Actually using the end of the brush because I don't feel like washing the brush and being super lazy. So I got plenty, actually probably more than I need, of the Mod Podge glue. Again, I'm heavy-handed with my media. I just want a little bit of glue underneath this so it stays. And I use the wax paper because it's easy enough to get in and under. And I just swipe it in and then press it down. It picks up the excess if I have too much. That just ensures that these smaller pieces that may not have the benefit of packing tape beneath them, I just sneak in a little Mod Podge underneath them using the wax paper. It controls the amount that I use and I don't have a big mess and I don't have the excess squeezing out and ruining other pieces that don't need Mod Podge. So I'll keep that off to the side and keep working. Remember, hang on to those scraps, but we're doing really good. We're almost done. I'm not letting anything go just yet. Coming to the conclusion, sort of. Still have a ways to go, kind of. And I'm realizing tiny things that are messing me up a little bit. I'm like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I do that? And this is when I allow the artistic license stuff to go ahead into effect. And I'm just going to make this not as exact, but I got to fix this neck. Yeah, I know you call that a guitar neck, I guess. Again, apologize to my musician friends. I'm going to figure something out what to do with this 'cause I'm not really excited about the way it looks. And I need to decide what to do with this little gadget on the guitar. So, what I'm just doing now is cutting out the body of the guitar, and I will worry about that other stuff in a little bit. Just make some nice clean cuts. The cuts on my end, I'm looking at them, they don't look super clean. And again, that's because I'm using paper that wasn't meant to be used for artwork. Who cares? You know, collages will use anything, believe me. So I am just cutting out the body of the guitar a little bit more than I want there. There's still time to fix mistakes or you change gears and do something else. Um, like with the body of the guitar and with the neck of the guitar, I know I can kind of just fix it, sort of. I'll cut the rest out later. That's also the challenging part is when I cut out this entire piece. It takes a little time. I usually do it on time lapse because it does take several minutes. I have to be careful. Okay, here we go. I'm going to hang on to the the template because I want to use it to address this issue. Not issue, but this image part of the guitar. So we can make this accurate as possible. And it's looking pretty good. Looks like it was a pretty good cut. I'll have to do a little cleanup maybe. And it's usually what happens is a little cleanup. That's inevitable. Okay, right here. This is all part of the body. I'm going to cut that out. So, this is a big portion of the collage. I need to consider what I am going to fill it with. Now, because it's definitely a big focal point, I want to take some time and think about it. So I'll just share quickly some of the possibilities. I liked this, but I don't think it goes all together with the color theme that I want to do. Nah, I mean, it's not bad, but no. I was using this maybe for the arm earlier. Will it work here? Let me get these little bits out of the way. It definitely has a creepy, nice quality to it. I do like that actually, but I have to fill in the gap. I don't know. I had this maybe as a portion of if I want to use both. I don't know. I originally was thinking using a light color, a yellowish color. I don't have any yellow in my immediate vicinity on my very messy station. Oh boy. So let me get back to thinking here and I'll think in time lapse. So I'm not going to worry about the guitar neck here, and I am thinking about these little these little guys right here. Not sure how to go about it. I could use this maybe. Although, and I'm kind of being lazy now at this point, I could just leave the guitar alone. It reads as a guitar. I feel it reads as a guitar. So I could probably get away with it not having anything. Plus, it would hide the face. Well, this portion, if I add the bottom part of the neck, it will hide that face, and I like the face there. I do like this. Here is this metal looking object. I could probably do something with that. Plus, I wanted to get back to the neck up here, at the top of the neck, where the cords are, and throw in these little guys with my trusty hole puncher. So back to time lapse, back to work. Okay, a nice fresh blade to release Mr. Beck from his template. Going to use my X-Acto and my scissors and go kind of slowly. And the next time you see us, you will see a completed collage. The final results, Jeff Beck is finished. You may notice right here, I added a few of these numbers. Something happened with the paper. I peeled it up, it ripped. I didn't like it, it bugged me, so I just covered it up. I then added a couple of these hole punch images for a little bit more flair. All in all, it's done. It took a long time, everybody, but I had a great time. I hope you did too.